What happens when a star dares to defy Hollywood? Just ask Amber Heard, whose courtroom drama cost her more than her reputation. Or Tippi Hedren, who said no to Alfred Hitchcock and paid for it with her career. Imagine saying no to the most powerful industry on earth, then watching your entire career vanish overnight. Hollywood doesn't take rejection well, especially when the person walking away is famous enough to challenge its code of silence. From actors who refuse to fake relationships for PR headlines to musicians who spoke out against corruption, this list will make you question who's really pulling the strings behind the red carpet. In this video, we're going behind the curtain to look at 10 stars who dared to say no to Hollywood's unwritten rules and paid the price for their honesty. Some were blacklisted, others were quietly erased. All of them have stories that say more than the system than the scandals themselves. Let's hear them out. Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser was once everywhere, then suddenly he wasn't. After he came forward about being sexually assaulted by a high-ranking industry figure, he said the offers stopped coming. He described feeling blacklisted and shut out of the world he had helped define in the late 90s and early 2000s. The same people who had cheered his success went silent. For a long time, he retreated from the spotlight and focused on healing. When Fraser finally returned with The Whale, audiences remembered why they loved him. His honesty about what he faced gave his comeback a depth that Hollywood rarely shows. He represents the quiet cost of telling the truth in a place built on illusion. Saying no to silence nearly ended his career, but it gave him back his voice. Jessica Alba. Jessica Alba didn't exactly fit the mold Hollywood wanted her to. She was young, beautiful, and expected to play along with the industry's version of femininity. Instead, she spoke about the sexism she faced and how she always wanted to be treated the way men were treated. Alba said she used what she called her masculine energy as armor during those years, refusing to conform to the roles that objectified her. Casting directors didn't always appreciate it, and opportunities slipped away. Still, she never backed down. Her decision to step back from acting and build The Honest Company wasn't a retreat, it was a statement. Alba rejected the system's morals about what a female star should be and built her own empire instead. She said no to Hollywood's unspoken rules and proved there's more power in walking away than in playing along. Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf's story is messy, complicated, and very human. He went from being one of Hollywood's most promising young actors to someone the industry didn't want to touch. Allegations from FKA Twigs and others painted a picture of chaos and pain, both for him and those around him. Instead of hiding, LaBeouf publicly admitted to his faults, calling himself a pleasure-seeking, selfish, self-centered, dishonest, inconsiderate, fearful human being. Few stars have been that brutally honest about their downfall. Hollywood thrives on image control, and LaBeouf shattered that illusion. His openness about addiction, anger, and accountability went against the system's habit of silence and denial. The cost was steep: lost roles, damaged reputation, and public scrutiny. Still, his journey fits this theme perfectly, saying no to Hollywood's false morality and exposing how the machine handles those who stop pretending. Amber Heard. Amber Heard's story might be the most polarizing one in recent Hollywood history. After her marriage to Johnny Depp unraveled, both found themselves in a legal and media storm that blurred truth and spectacle. When Depp sued her over an op-ed in the Washington Post, the 2022 trial turned into a global event. Though the court ruled she defamed Depp, the damage went both ways. His reputation was bruised, but hers nearly vanished. Projects disappeared, endorsements froze, and her name became a cultural battlefield. Heard's situation forced people to confront how Hollywood handles morality, especially when it involves gender, power, and public sympathy. She said her piece and paid dearly for it. Rose McGowan. Rose McGowan was one of the first to shatter Hollywood's silence about sexual assault. When she spoke against Harvey Weinstein, she didn't just tell her story, she challenged an entire system built on secrecy and fear. The backlash was swift. She says she was blacklisted, labeled unstable, and pushed to the margins of an industry she once helped define. McGowan's stand was about refusing to live under the same rules that had protected predators for decades. Her honesty came at the cost of her career, but it sparked a movement that changed how people talk about power in Hollywood. She said no to silence and yes to truth, even when the price was isolation. Rose McGowan's courage reminds us that sometimes the loudest voice in the room is the one no one wants to hear, but everyone needs to. Susan Sarandon. Susan Sarandon has never been afraid to speak her mind, and that courage has come at a price. After making pro-Palestine remarks during a rally, she said she was effectively blacklisted in Hollywood. Longtime representatives dropped her, and projects that once welcomed her presence pulled away. Her story stands out because it isn't about scandal, it's about conviction. Sarandon didn't apologize or retract her comments. She questioned why empathy for one group should cancel compassion for another, and that stance shook the industry. Hollywood often celebrates activism when it's convenient, but Sarandon's experience exposed its double standard. She represents what happens when a celebrity's conscience collides with Hollywood's comfort zone. Saying no to silence cost her work, but it reaffirms something far rarer in the entertainment world: a voice that refuses to follow the script. Mo'Nique. When Mo'Nique won the Oscar for Precious, it should have been her golden moment. Instead, it became the start of her Hollywood freeze-out. She refused to play what she called the campaign game. That meant no unpaid red carpets, no endless interviews to please studios, and no pretending for power. Her decision didn't sit well with insiders who expected gratitude to come with compliance. Soon her name stopped being mentioned for new roles. She was labeled difficult and watched the industry turn its back. Mo'Nique never apologized for standing her ground. She often says her silence wasn't for sale, and that's something Hollywood couldn't handle. Years later, she's still telling her truth and reminding others that success without integrity isn't success at all. Tippi Hedren. Tippi Hedren's story is one of courage long before Hollywood was ready for it. During the height of her fame, she refused the unwanted advances of director Alfred Hitchcock. The price for her defiance was severe. She said Hitchcock locked her into a restrictive contract, blocking her from working with other studios. Hedren had been the star of The Birds and Marnie, two of the most iconic thrillers ever made, yet after standing up for herself, her career slowed to a crawl. In an era when speaking out could end everything, she refused to play the victim quietly. Her experience revealed Hollywood's darker side, where power and control often disguise themselves as opportunity. Tippi Hedren's choice to say no was a quiet rebellion that helps shape later conversations about abuse, boundaries, and respect in the entertainment world. Neil McDonough. Neil McDonough once had it all. Then he made a choice most actors wouldn't. He refused to kiss other women on screen out of respect for his faith and marriage. Hollywood didn't take it well. He says producers and casting directors completely turned on me after he drew that line. Roles disappeared, offers dried up, and he was quietly pushed out of big projects. McDonough has talked about how that time nearly broke him, yet he stayed firm in what he believed was right. Instead of chasing approval, he focused on smaller, more meaningful work and his family. Today, he stands as someone who proved that walking away from Hollywood's expectations doesn't mean losing everything. It means choosing values over applause. James Woods. Academy Award-nominated actor James Woods has appeared in dozens of films throughout his long career. Yet in 2017, he seemingly fell out of favor in Hollywood after making a series of anti-Obama posts on Twitter. A vocal supporter of Donald Trump, Woods openly acknowledged his isolation from the industry, once tweeting that he had accepted the fact he was blacklisted. Hollywood's overwhelmingly liberal climate clashed with his outspoken political views, and as a result, work offers dwindled. Despite the professional fallout, Woods has remained unapologetic about his stance. Hollywood has always loved a good redemption arc, but not everyone gets one. For some of these stars, one tweet, one trial, or one bad choice was all it took to turn applause into silence. Fame is fickle, and in an industry built on public opinion, reputation can be the real box office killer. And for those still waiting on their comeback, Looks like the credits rolled a little too soon.